Preaching to the choir is the same as preaching to the converted, but the choir version is the more modern and snappy variant, holding a bit more humor and irony. It is similar to the idiom, carry coals to Newcastle. Both idioms suggest providing an abundance of something to a place where there is already plenty. Preaching to the choir also holds some similarities to the expression, beat a dead horse. However, none of these idioms are synonyms. Here is the meaning of the idiom preaching to the choir. If you're preaching to the choir, you're presenting opinions to people who already agree with you. In other words, it means to express one's viewpoint to people who already hold the same views. The word preach, in this idiom, does not suggest a religious sermon, although this is possible. It uses preach in a generalized secular sense to mean loudly proclaim, teach, etc. At the same time, it draws on the image of a preacher preaching to a congregation. Such pastors are, after all, preaching to the converted. And we can be even more confident that the choir, in the church, are true believers in his message. The image of a preacher turning around and preaching to the church choir is humorous. It helped this variant of the idiom become dominant.
Preaching to the choir, you're supposed to preach to the congregation.
Here are some sentence examples for preaching to the choir. Most political candidates holding town halls are just preaching to the choir. Look, you're preaching to the choir. But I can't afford to give money to that charity. Preach to the choir gained popularity as an idiom during the late 1960s and early 1970s. It steadily rose in use during the years following. It was based on the much older idiom, preach to the converted. Originally British, it found its legs in the American South during the 1900s before spreading. Preaching to the converted is an obvious and transparent allusion. Calling on the choir adds a new layer of emphasis. Surely the church choir must be the most devout of the congregation. And to preach to them is a waste of time.